Hello and welcome to Demon Interviews, episode 105. I'm your host, Springy.
I'm your host, Rodan20, aka Dennis.
Woo! And joining us today is our very special guest.
I am Vincent, better known as Evil Otto Jr., Cosplay and Props.
Ooh, awesome. Well, the first thing we would like to ask you is, how's your day going today so far?
I work at a machine shop, and we are currently somehow simultaneously extremely slow and completely slammed for work. I don't know how that's happening, but that's what I've been dealing with all day. And then I got off work about an hour and a half ago, and since then, nothing has happened. So now it's now.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, the first actual question is going to be a very serious, very hard-hitting question.
All right.
Would you rather eat Cheetos or go on a hike?
Well, let's see. Cheetos or hike? Well, if I were... Depends on where I'm hiking. If I'm hiking somewhere where I can find food along the way, I'd rather do that, because I'm pretty sure that, the right berries and stuff are probably a lot better for you than Cheetos.
Sure.
But the Cheetos are also a little more accessible than some random place out in the woods. But I'd say, overall, the hike would probably be a more memorable experience than the Cheetos, so I think I'll go with a hike.
Awesome. Makes sense.
It's my turn. Okay. So obviously you said you do cosplays and props, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What do you want people to know about this stuff?
Sorry, say again, it cut out briefly.
Like exactly what? Yeah, I know. Like, what is one thing you want to tell you do with the cosplays and props? Like, do you make them? What is what you do?
So I do a mix of most of my cosplays. I've made at least part of them. I do occasionally buy cosplays, but for my most show-offy ones, they're completely homemade. My most popular one, for example, is Bender from Futurama, and that is made like completely from scratch out of EVA foam. I have a big focus on like really gimmicky cosplays, so I like my cosplays to do more than look nice. I like them to do stuff. So like Bender has a soundboard loaded into the cosplay that's hooked to some buttons on my glove, and he will actually talk. Since I can't do an impression of Bender, I've got this soundboard loaded up with all sorts of different voice clips from Bender talking from Futurama, which I can push a number of different buttons and have like responses to what people are saying. So I can even hold like small conversations just by pushing buttons on my glove without speaking at all. I also have my Coco minigun that not only is it extremely large, it has spinning barrels and it has a Bluetooth speaker in it. It makes sound effects as well as just playing music whenever I feel like it. So I like to do things with a little bit of extra, wow factor. So I've got that's kind of like what I aim for with my cosplay, is I want to be the, most interesting person in the room.
Yeah.
Creative.
That's really awesome.
Creative.
Mm-hmm.
So the next question is going to be, have you ever been interviewed like this before?
Never on a video or audio interview. I've done a couple of written interviews before here and there. What was the most? Yeah, I think my most recent one was with Cosplay in America, and yeah, but I haven't done a video interview or anything like this before, so this is my first time trying this.
Well, I'm happy to be your first time, so that's good to hear.
Please be gentle.
Okay. Who's your favorite character to cosplay?
Say it one more time.
I know. There's sometimes I'm having problems, but what I said was, well, who is your favorite to cosplay?
My favorite to cosplay.
Yeah.
Well, like Bender definitely gets the biggest audience reaction because I think he's the best known. But definitely, yeah. My other really big one is Aku from Samurai Jack, and with that one, I actually can do a passable Aku impression. And so that one I can use my own voice, and I'm walking around on stilts. So in that cosplay, I'm 8 feet tall, and so I can run around doing that, and just generally, scaring people and holding up traffic at conventions. I get harassed by staff a lot when I'm in that cosplay because I'm apparently blocking the flow of traffic. And then Coco's another one that uh, it's not quite the. I mean, it is a crowd pleaser, but it's not quite. It's not quite as like large or well known as the others, but it's one that's like really personally special to me because I've met a lot of friends through the Ruby fan community, specifically all these cosplayers that I meet at. I'm like DC, Virginia area based, and there's a lot of that going on over here. But I've made friends all over the country from that show. And so that one I think is just very personally special to me.
Awesome. Well, the next question is going to be, do you have any new cosplays planned to do that you're able to tell us about without us giving you a small fee of $5?
All right. One that I'm thinking about doing is I kind of want to do like a joke cosplay because I've been a huge fan of Pokemon ever since it came out. I got my first Game Boy Color and Pokemon Red back in 1998, so I've been playing since it came out. But I've never like really thought of like a good Pokemon to cosplay, but it hit me recently that if you're familiar with Pokemon Red and Blue, they had the infamous missing no glitch. Talk to the old man in Viridian City, and he'll teach you how to catch a Pokemon, then fly over to Cinnabar Island and surf on the left side, and you're going to start running into like all sorts of glitches, and it'll multiply your 6 item slots so you have like infinite rare candies or Master Balls or whatever you want. And there's an infamous Pokemon that's just a series of squares, like pixels and squares, called Missing No. And it's not an official Pokemon at all, but it's one of those things that if you've played the game, you are almost certain to recognize that glitch. And I feel like it'd be fun to cosplay a Missing No glitch.
Ooh.
And it'd also be pretty easy to do because it's basically just a big series of pixely rectangles.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm excited to see that.
I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, good point. Oh yeah. All right. What are the best compliments you've ever gotten in your cosplays?
Okay, so I have made a point to, with a lot of my cosplays, meet somebody involved with the cosplay. For example, with I got a few stories here if that's cool. So with Coco, I was at RTX in I think 2017, and I was walking around in my cosplay. I didn't even have my gun on me. My friends were watching my gun, and I was just walking around in this outfit, and this lady came up to me and says, "Hey, I love your Coco Adele cosplay. Can we get a selfie together?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And didn't think anything of it. That happens to me all the time.
Mhm.
Well, the reason I was at RTX was to meet Ashley Burns, nee Ashley Jenkins, who voices Coco. And like that was the thing that I was there for. I traveled from Virginia to Texas to meet this woman and have her sign my gun. And so, I'm familiar with her primarily by voice. So I didn't know off the top of my head exactly what she looked like. I knew that she was blonde, and that was about it. So later that day, I'm in the autograph line, and one of her assistants comes up to me. Is like, "Hey, man, you're back." And I'm like, "What do you mean I'm back?" It's like, "You just talked to Ashley." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Oh my God, you didn't know. You had no idea." And I was like, "Oh my God, no!" Ashley Jenkins came up and took a selfie with me. I had no idea it was her. This woman that I had traveled like 2,000 miles to meet. And it just completely went over my head that that we had already met like 2 hours previously. And so I get through this line and I'm like almost in tears, embarrassed because of that. And she was totally cool about it. She thought it was a great story. And so that was really cool. And then the other cool story I have about that is, so I made my Bender cosplay because Bender's voice actor, John DiMaggio, was at a convention only an hour and a half from me. And I was like, okay, I've got a month to make this cosplay. I think I can do it. And I did it. And I think I did a damn good job because I went to have John sign my Bender cosplay and take a selfie together. And because I have the voice thing in Bender, I was able to go up to John DiMaggio and tell him in his own voice to bite my shiny metal ass, and which he thought was great. In fact, he thought it was so great that I have a friend that works at a bar in Richmond where the convention was, and I had not like directly spoken with this friend in a long time. We just kind of fell out of contact. So we had not privately messaged in a very long time. But like later that night, he messaged me out of the blue, and he says, "Dude, you're not going to believe this, but John DiMaggio just came into my bar with his buddies, and he is sitting here drinking, talking about how awesome your cosplay was." And I'm like, if that is not the single best compliment you can get for a cosplay, it's like when you're talking about it drunk with your buddies. Yeah, I mean, it's like I know that there I did a pretty good job, and that got me a little teary-eyed because I was like, okay, yeah, I made it.
I made it in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some amazing stories, I have to say.
Yeah. Especially the first story.
Oh my God, I was so embarrassed. I thought I was gonna die. Alrighty.
You're just like, you're back. I am. Wait. Oh God.
Yeah, it was bad. It was very bad. I was very upset.
Yeah.
But she was completely cool about it. She said that's not the first time that's happened to her, because because a lot of people do just know her by voice. That's a thing that happens with voice actors, I guess.
Dennis, you're breaking up with us.
Uh-oh.
Oh no. We
Yes.
just have a smile. It's like so blurry, and it looks like it's a creepypasta picture.
It really does. Like
It just
images
looks
that images that precede unfortunate events.
pretty much. It's just frozen. Like I need to just figure out how to take a picture of that, and like I'm not used to be like using my phone for this.
Here,
Folks,
I can
there we
print
go.
screen it and send it to you.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, I've got it. I went and print screened it.
Awesome. But while we wait for Dennis to uncreepypasta himself, I'll just ask another question since my list is a little bit bigger than his. But why did you start cosplaying in the first place?
So, let's see. So I've always done a little bit of costuming. Yeah, I was like big into Halloween when I was a kid and stuff like that. So I had a couple of costumes here and there. But I guess I got my start like cosplaying in character when I was 14, because I started going to the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So that, obviously you dress up and stuff like that. But then a bunch of years later, I think this is around the release of The Dark Knight Rises. So this would have been 2012. I really wanted to make a Batman costume. And so and at the time, I did not have a lot of money, so I made this, helmet, this cowl out of paper mache and tinfoil and spray paint. I sewed a cape by hand. I used straight up like underoos and like a hot glued on bat symbol and made this Batman costume. But the result ended up being, pretty decent for something that I threw together in a couple of weeks. And so that was, I think, when I really found that I had a talent for making them. And then in 2015, I started hanging out with some friends that actually ran a convention called OmegaCon in Charlottesville, Virginia. And they told me, hey, yeah, no, you should really come to this thing. And a lot of people told me at the time that I have a resemblance to Chris Pratt. And so I actually cut my hair, because at the time I had very long hair. Now I have no hair. This was somewhere in the middle, so I cut it short and went to the convention as Star-Lord, and that got a really good reception. And then after that, I wanted to get back into actually making the costumes. The Star-Lord, I bought the coat and stuff like that. But then later that year, I made Kylo Ren for the release of The Force Awakens. And I actually had it ready several months before the movie. I based my outfit on concept art. There wasn't even any official merch out yet, so I was able to do that pretty early. And I won a prize at the convention. I won the best non-comic cosplay, which was a cash prize in the costume contest, because I even made the lightsaber from scratch and it lit up and everything. And from there, I just realized I kind of have a knack for this, and I've been going to conventions ever since. I mean, obviously this year excluded, but I've been to conventions in, I think, 15 different states, and I've been as far west as Texas and as north as Rhode Island, as south as Florida, just all over the place, basically to just dress up and get people to take pictures of me.
That's amazing, I have to say. It's always fun when we go to the movie as the character and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis, you good? You seem alive again.
I think so. Can
yeah, we can hear you in
the...
the video quality seems a bit better.
The video quality is better, just the audio is about the same. But we can definitely hear you, so we can definitely try to interpret the next question.
Hold on. But I'll definitely ask the next question. What do you think is the biggest misconception about you and your cosplays?
About me personally?
Yeah.
The biggest misconception about me is that so I don't have a very large fan base or anything, but apparently a lot of people that are fans of mine but don't know me personally are kind of intimidated to talk to me. They they maybe think I'll be a jerk or something, or maybe they're just nervous and too shy to come talk to me. I'm about the easiest person in the world to talk to. I can talk to anybody. I can strike up a conversation with a 70-year-old man and then turn around and have a conversation with his grandson. I'm one of the easiest people to get along with. I'm super chill. Usually, if you see me at a convention, I've probably also been drinking. So my anxiety gets turned down a lot when that happens. So I'm usually just I'm there to just chill, have fun. I'm a super easy guy to talk to, but I guess a lot of people think that I might be a little intimidating or something like that, and that's not the case. I'm just a super chill guy.
Awesome. Well, we're happy to hear about that. So the next question is, well, actually, it's not a question at all. It's a stereotypical YouTube thing that every YouTuber does ever. Don't forget to like, comment, hit subscribe, hit that bell icon. If you have any polite, appropriate questions for our lovely guest here, put them in the comments below. And if we ever get him back onto the show, we'll ask him your questions.
I like questions.
Yeah. Well, then you go love this show because it's just that.
Excellent.
But the next question is a very long, very complicated question. Very hard hitting, gets to your soul. It's coming from a past guest, a Mr. Zoom _2028. Bacon ?
Bacon ? Yes! ! Hashtag always bacon.
Awesome.
Okay. From another question from a past guest is from Shannon Cuthers on Instagram. If you were in a movie and was co-starring with, who would it be and what movie would that be about?
Oh man. So let's see here. If I were to co-star with somebody, I think I'd want to. Oh, that's a real tough question. Because, well, I did mention Chris Pratt earlier, and so I think it'd be funny to do like a movie where, I'm playing Chris Pratt's character's stunt double. Okay, so think like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but instead of Leo and Brad Pitt, it's Chris Pratt and me. And then probably the same general idea, but set in modern times and with a lot less of the murdering. I feel like there probably wouldn't be quite as much murdering, but probably hijinks ensue. And oh man, what would the title of that be? I don't know. I don't have a title. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, you could do Hooked on a Feeling.
But yes, so the next question is kind of it's a question then a follow-up question. So the next question is even longer, more hard-hitting. Also going from Mr. Zoom _2028. Peanut butter ?
Peanut butter. Let's see. So peanut butter is. I like peanut butter actually. I've even had a peanut butter soup before that a friend of mine makes. It's like some sort of African recipe that's actually really good. So yes, I would say yes to peanut butter.
Awesome. Well, the follow-up question is going to be bacon and peanut butter together.
Okay, so I think it could work. So that same friend that made the peanut butter soup also at one time made bacon cinnamon rolls, which was not a thing that I would have ever thought to do, and they were phenomenal. Like, they were so good. And so I feel like, given specifically that friend and her culinary talents, I feel like she could probably put something together with bacon and peanut butter that'd be pretty damn delectable.
That just sounds delicious. Now I'm thinking about like bacon peanut butter cookies or something like that.
Yeah, oh yeah, that could probably work. Like peanut butter cookies with like crumbled bacon sprinkles on top. That'd probably be pretty good.
Yeah, we finally figured out a good recipe for that. But yeah, so that's.
But this is not a cooking show.
Yet.
It's not a cooking show. This is. We're not having a cooking show version of this.
Yet.
Anyway, another question from another past guest we've had is from Harley F. Quinn. Says this. What are those?
Well, the only thing that I can see, I know you're referencing a Vine here, but I'm not wearing shoes right now, so instead, I will take those to mean my lovely Godzilla collection, which is sitting behind me. I've been collecting those since I was 4 years old, and I now have way too damn many of them. They take up an entire wall of my apartment.
Yeah, we can definitely relate. We have stuff like that. we have stuff that just covers our rooms and stuff. We understand that.
I feel like everybody does. It's just for me, it just happened to be Godzilla figures, and for other people, it happens to be paint.
Coins.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a random collection thing that people do.
Mm-hmm.
But the next question is going to be who is your biggest inspiration?
Oh man, so I got a few. Adam Savage is obviously one. Of course, I'm familiar with him from MythBusters, but then later after he finished with that and he got really like hard into the cosplay stuff, the tested YouTube channel's got all sorts of crazy stuff. So I like him. I like Bill Duran from Punished Props and Evil Ted Smith. Those are the two people from whom I learned most of what I know about working with EVA foam. And then a friend of mine who's retired, my friend Mike Hagee from 540 FXperts. He was one of the he was one of the first like big EVA cosplayers I had ever met. And he was the one that told me about EVA foam and stuff like that. He does a lot of stuff from Warhammer, and so those costumes are traditionally really big, and it was just massive. He had some other stuff like War Greymon from Digimon, and just all these like wildly big, McLarge, huge cosplays. And he's local to me. He lives not too far away, and it was because of him that I sort of like started looking into more of EVA foam, and that's been my bread and butter ever since I started with that. And he has since retired and moved on to other things, but he's definitely an inspiration of mine that's pretty close to home.
Well, that is amazing to hear about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you create any of your cosplays, or did you just have them?
Like I said earlier, it's probably a solid like 50-50 mix of what I've purchased and what I've just made from scratch. Like I said, Bender's completely from scratch. Coco is like the gun is completely from scratch, and most of the outfit was either made or modified. That was my like second big attempt at sewing. My first attempt was Kylo Ren. I'm not very good at sewing. I can do it, but not that well. So a lot of times, if as little of that as I have to do, I tend to be a little less comfortable with that. So if I can just like use a T-shirt and not have to sew it, then I'll do that. Aku was made from scratch, but then there's others that I have that were completely bought, like Star-Lord. I didn't really make anything for Star-Lord. Pepsi Man, I just bought a Zentai suit. Oh, that's a fun cosplay. I have a story about that later. And yeah, I've got a couple. It's like I tend to, and a lot of times, even if I like, buy a cosplay, I might make like one thing for it. Like my Darth Revan cosplay, I bought the cosplay, like the actual outfit, the robes and everything, but it did not come with a mask. And any of the masks that were available for sale, I just didn't like any of them, so I ended up just making my own. And that's the one that saved me like freaking $70 or $80. Christ, those masks were expensive as hell. But then I got something that I personally feel was a lot closer to the video game than anything I could have bought.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, the next question is as we talked about a little bit before, the con scene is very small and not in existent right now because of the current situations in the world. Is there a con that you hope will be open soon, or that you're able to go to safely soon, that you're planning on going to?
I'm very, very much hoping that KatsuCon still happens in February, or at the very least, if it instead of it getting canceled and maybe it gets like delayed some, I'd rather it not cancel altogether. Because KatsuCon for me is like the most personally like relevant con, just because that's where all of my con friends tend to meet up usually. Like of all the people I know at conventions, most of them I met at Katsu, and probably 95% of them end up there. I was like, I've got friends that live in Texas that come to KatsuCon, friends that live all the way up in like Boston, New England, Vermont, that area. They'll come down for Katsu. Yeah, so definitely KatsuCon, I think, is like if only one con happens next year, I want it to be that one.
Awesome. It's really good to hear that there are some good cons out there that people can still hopefully be able to go to. So that's good to hear. Yeah, so now it's Dennis's turn to ask a question. Oh Lord, the lag is bad.
You said you have a lag, so don't mind me, please. Thank you. I actually got no other question to ask, actually.
Oh, you don't? Okay, then. Well, I will ask one more, then we'll get into the final 4 questions. So the last question on the list you do here is going to be, would you keep a pet zombie or would you kill it?
Oh, a pet zombie, that's just I'd have to kill it, because like, yeah, I've seen enough zombie movies to know that like trying to keep a zombie corralled always just ends up with you getting bitten yourself. Like it's just gonna happen. It's not worth it. And the other big problem is nobody ever talks about how bad zombies must smell. I mean, they're rotting corpses. God, have you ever had like a mouse die in the walls of your house? Like just that alone is unbearable smell. Yeah. So definitely, like a whole like human body, that'd probably be pretty rank. So I'm gonna have to get rid of that zombie, I think.
That's completely understandable. Well, now we're gonna go into the final 4 questions for today. First of all, do you have any questions for me as an individual, or any questions, comments, or concerns about the show that you would like to talk about?
So, how did you two meet and decide to start doing this thing?
Well, I'll let Dennis do the story of meeting, and then I'll do the story of how the show came to be. So he actually said something.
So basically we met on TikTok, which is the app that's been going around, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so we met on there. I'm also a cosplayer as myself, so is him. So we're both cosplayers. We do that kind of stuff. We met when I duetted one of his videos, and then he and I became friends. We started talking a lot, and then out of the blue, he just randomly asked me at like 12 in the morning, saying, "Hey Dennis, do you want to do a show? Do you want to do a YouTube channel show?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And then he'll get to that story.
Yeah, and then so I messaged him very late at night, just like, because like I saw that somebody was doing a channel, like one of our friends who's now one of our co-hosts was doing a show for like big name, huge, like cosplayers you see on TV type of thing,
Mm-hmm.
like that, like are on like cosplay type of TV shows.
Yeah,
and we're like, there's not anybody who's talking to more of the to everybody else. So I thought in the middle of the night, like we could be that channel, like me, Dennis, and then it evolved into more of us. But yeah, it just now I was not expecting to get one person. Now we have about 105. So who said
that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, we've been going at this for almost 2 years now. It's gonna be 2 years in January, I believe.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So
January is my birthday.
Yeah. It'd be funny if we released the first episode on his birthday, which I don't think we did. I don't think so.
I think it was like the day before my birthday. It was the day like before my birthday.
Probably, yeah. But do you have any other questions, comments, or concerns that you would like to have addressed?
So, you guys said you both also do cosplay. What, aside from your YouTube channel, what other social media do you guys have for that? I mean, obviously, you guys mentioned TikTok.
Yeah. Well, I mainly me and him use that as our outlet, but we also do have Instagram. There's an Instagram for different interviews. I have my own. Dennis has his own for all of our cosplay original character types of needs. And also just random nonsense. Like today I posted about Dead by Daylight having crossplay. So it's not just like specifically one thing, but
Right.
yeah, we have other social medias, which they'll all be in the description below, and so will our lovely guests here. All of the names will be in the description below if you want to find him and us.
Excellent.
Awesome. Anything else before we move on?
I think that's it.
Awesome. Well, the next question is going to be, who would you like to see on the show in the future?
Let's see. Who would I want you guys to interview?
Definitely not Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
You can suggest Chris Pratt. It's gonna be a long time.
Oh man, yeah, I can.
That's gonna be like future.
Yeah, I can list off a couple of cosplayers I know who'd probably be pretty good. So obviously there's I don't know if you've already interviewed Mangaloo from Lebanak and Mangaloo Cosplays. She's pretty good. Nei-chan-san on Instagram. Her stuff's really good. She does a lot of really fun stuff. And then a friend of mine, Galaxy Queen Cosplay. God, she's got like 1 million cosplays.
Yeah.
Who else?
We have interviewed her before, actually. If you want to go see that, shameless plug. Hey. But yeah.
Excellent. All right, cool. Yeah, I figure if I start spitballing, you'll probably get somebody in there. And then friend of mine, Netherworks Costumes, could probably do with a good interview. He doesn't have like a very big following at all yet, but his stuff is really, really good. He also does some Warhammer stuff. He's got like a Plague Marine, and he cosplay character from Magic the Gathering, whose name I can't recall, but his EVA foam work is, if I'm going to be honest, better than mine. And he definitely needs a little more love, because his stuff's pretty good.
Well, that's awesome. We'll definitely get in contact with all of those people. So yeah. The next question is going to be, would you ever like to come back to the show?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've got loads more stories. Like I've been going to these things for 5 years, and I've got all sorts of different stories, all sorts of different adventures I've been on. I've even cosplayed in Japan, so that's a whole. Oh man, that was a fucking wild night, and and of course there's all sorts of stuff. I love to talk about how I do what I do. And so yeah, I would definitely love to come back on the show. You guys ask me back anytime.
Awesome. Well,
make sure don't grab our merch.
Yeah, stereotypical YouTuber plugging for merchandise.
Gotta make them Benjis.
Yeah, pretty much. More like make them Washingtons, because it's but yeah, but the final question for today is going to be, do you have any questions for a future guest?
Oh yeah, all right. So, question for a future guest. What is one cosplay that you would do given unlimited budget and tools? Say you could make the best cosplay that could possibly be made. What would you cosplay, and what would you want that cosplay to do?
That's a very awesome question that we'll definitely write down, put it on the list and everything. So
Excellent.
that's about it. So I want to say thank you so much for being on the show. We both highly appreciate it.
Oh yes, thanks for inviting me. I love doing these things. This is a lot of fun.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. Thank you, Dennis, for being here even throughout the glitchiness of me being on my phone and sometimes his internet, because he is doing his internet's doing multiple things at a time right now, so it's understandable. Yeah, and thank you all for watching. Don't forget about the stereotypical plugging for merchandise that we always do. But thank you all for watching, and at least I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.
Take care.